Would you like some aloe vera? You just got burned.
Number 10. No love for Leonard. Upon realizing he's the only of his friends who's completely single, Leonard starts feeling a little blue.
Great. You have a girlfriend, Howard's got a girlfriend, Sheldon's got a girl who's a friend.
Thank you.
What about you, Stuart? You have a girlfriend yet?
Oh, yeah.
Unfortunately, he lives with one of the least sympathetic people on Earth. When Sheldon finds Leonard sprawled across the sofa, he tries to deduce what's got him so down. And in true Sheldon style, he does it while delivering an unintentionally vicious jibe.
Leonard, are you sleeping?
No.
Are you ill?
No.
Are you still depressed because you're alone and no one loves you?
In all fairness, he tries to show a smidge of compassion, but it's just to get Leonard's feet out of his spot. It doesn't help that he then throws jabs at his friend, targeting his attractiveness and so-called manliness.
Height, strength, attractiveness, the ability to hold one's liquor and throw darts separately or together. Leonard has none of these attributes. Right, Leonard?
He probably didn't mean to be so insensitive, but as Bernadette once wisely said,
"It's not the same thing. Sheldon doesn't know when he's being mean because the part of his brain that should know is getting a wedgie from the rest of his brain."
Still, it was pretty brutal. Number 9. Ignoring Leonard's problems. When Penny goes back to college, she refuses to let Leonard read her history report, knowing he wouldn't be able to resist taking over. He checks it out behind her back anyway, and deems that her writing is as subpar as her cooking.
Okay. She writes like she cooks.
However, he soon feels guilty and tries to exonerate himself by confessing to Sheldon. The pair has been living together so long, you'd think he'd know better.
He must be wearing a tinfoil hat or something.
I did a bad thing.
Does it affect me?
No.
Then suffer in silence. Play.
Indeed, Sheldon's caught up in his own problems and makes it perfectly clear that unless Leonard's drama somehow involves him, he can keep it to himself. Eventually, the friends use a chess clock to work out their issues, although we're not convinced Leonard gets much out of it.
My turn. I can't let Penny hand in a bad paper, but how do I tell her it's bad without letting her know that I read it?
Beats me.
Number 8. Playing Priya at her own game. As any Big Bang fan knows, writing contracts is one of Sheldon's favorite activities. And arguably, there's no contract more sacred to this kooky genius than the roommate agreement.
Can I see the roommate agreement?
It's fairly technical.
I think I can handle it.
So he becomes increasingly annoyed when Leonard's girlfriend Priya scrutinizes it and points out its flaws.
The legal principle is ambiguity in a contract benefits the party that did not draft it. In this case, Leonard. So much for count 1.
But
There's no but, Sheldon. That's how the law works.
schooled.
He becomes even more flustered when his friends use her brilliant lawyerly mind just to mess with him. However, it's Sheldon who gets the last laugh. Following Amy's drunken advice, he decides to invoke Star Trek to exact his revenge.
In the next 41 seconds, this computer will send an email to your parents in India saying that you're in a secret relationship with the whiter-than-marshmallow fluff Leonard Hofstadter.
Oh my God.
What's the big deal?
Trust me, it's a big deal.
Sheldon uses Priya's family against her to force Leonard into signing a new agreement. Amy told him to play dirty, but this is downright diabolical. Sheldon Cooper always gets his way.
This is ridiculous.
It's a laptop with a full charge. Honestly, what do you see in him?
Okay, give him what he wants, or we're done.
3.
Really?
2.
Okay, I'll sign it.
Number 7. Mocking Penny's education, career, and love life. Despite their blossoming friendship, Sheldon rarely misses an opportunity to pass judgment or throw shade at Penny's life choices.
I realize you're currently at the mercy of your primitive biological urges, but as you have an entire lifetime of poor decisions ahead of you, may I interrupt this one?
It's great to see you too. Come on in.
He's never short on snarky remarks over her chosen career path and often scoffs at her educational background. In fact, whenever Penny schools Sheldon on life, he likes to remind her of what he perceives to be her limited qualifications.
Oh, let me see those cards.
Oh, big deal. Not knowing
knowing is part of the fun.
Not knowing's part of the fun. Was that the motto of your community college?
Sheldon's also no stranger to pointing out Penny's extensive dating history and apparent promiscuity. In the benefactor factor, he brashly urges her to teach Leonard how to trade a specific kind of favor for material gain. If looks could kill, Penny most certainly would have taken Sheldon out then and there. And who could blame her? It was incredibly harsh.
What was all that about me trading sexual favors for material gain?
It was a compliment. I believe in giving credit where credit is due.
Number 6. Sheldon gets sick. In season 1, Penny learns why everyone avoids Sheldon when he's sick. And no, it's not just because of the germs.
I can't believe I'm doing this.
No, counterclockwise are my chest hair bats.
However, he really amps up the savagery in this season 9 episode, insulting everyone who comes to his aid. He's mean to Penny and super rude to both Emily and Bernadette when they offer their healthcare expertise.
I brought you a little care package from work. It's our latest antiviral and the best decongestant we make.
I hope laughter is the best medicine, because this care package is a joke.
Leonard brings him hot soup, but gets burned by Sheldon's fiery backtalk. Meanwhile, Amy extends her trip out of town to avoid dealing with him, as she lovingly tries to explain.
You know how when you're sick, you're allowed to be cranky and say whatever you want and other people's feelings don't matter?
Ooh, gentle and loving, this is gonna be tricky.
The worst part is that Sheldon believes his ill health excuses his behavior. Even with the offer for a free customized t-shirt, not everyone is willing to forgive and forget. Number 5. Crushing Leonard's dreams. It's love at first sight for Leonard when he first spots their new neighbor across the hall. After an awkward introduction, he's already envisioning a future where the girl next door is his wife, and they have attractive and intelligent children.
You're not done with her, are you?
Our babies will be smart and beautiful.
Not to mention imaginary.
However, Sheldon's very quick to burst his bubble. Years later, Leonard reflects on one of his past ideas while the guys discuss a cool new invention. He wonders why he never followed through.
Penny is not the reason I didn't pursue that idea.
Oh, really? Since meeting her, what have been your greatest accomplishments?
Luckily, Sheldon's eidetic memory has the answer. Unluckily for Leonard, the response is accompanied by a cutting remark.
You thought of it September 22nd, 2007. 2 days later, Penny moved in, and so much blood rushed to your genitals, your brain became a ghost town.
Still, even Sheldon had to admit he was wrong about this one.
He said to me that their babies would be smart and beautiful. And now that they're expecting, I have no doubt that that will be the case.
Number 4. Telling Amy she has an expiration date. In the season 8 finale, Amy heartbreakingly called for a pause on her relationship with Sheldon.
This isn't easy to say because I love you, but I need some time to take a step back and reevaluate our situation.
Our sympathy for the latter quickly fades when he spends much of the season 9 premiere relentlessly pestering and pressuring her to make a choice.
Boy, I'm glad we're going out again.
We're not back together.
Why? Is there someone else? You just couldn't wait with that first notch on your bedpost, could you?
He even brings the argument to Howard and Bernadette's, where everyone's gathered to watch Penny and Leonard's Vegas wedding livestream. In one particularly cruel moment, he shockingly reminds Amy that her fertile days are numbered.
It's like you can't make up your mind.
It's because you're not giving me any space to think.
Well, you should think fast, because men can sire offspring their entire lives, but those eggs you're toting around have a sell-by date.
It's such an awful thing to say. Not only is he incredibly hurtful to her, but he also shows a complete disregard for his best friend's wedding.
We did it!
I'm so glad you guys could watch.
I'll say it was beautiful in the comment section.
No wonder she chooses to dump him. That's bad, Sheldon. Very bad. Number 3. A teachable moment for Leonard. When Sheldon discovers a long overdue DVD they once rented on his account, he makes Leonard a deal in exchange for his silence on the matter. The latter character must wear an itchy garment until the issue is resolved.
That's stupid. Why?
You say it's itchy and uncomfortable. I say situations like this make me feel the same way.
I'm telling you, try the hanger.
At first, this seems like a reasonable enough agreement and a great way for Leonard to walk a mile in Sheldon's metaphorical shoes.
Pay the late fee and prove to Sheldon that you can have a problem and solve it without acting like a complete lunatic.
However, his physical and emotional well-being pay the price when he spends longer in the itchy sweater than anticipated. Adding insult to injury, Sheldon eventually reveals that he'd already taken care of the late DVD years ago.
What?
I was going to mention it at the time, but then I thought, someday, this might be a teachable moment.
This leaves Leonard in need of another ice pack for his bruised ego. Hey Sheldon, that wasn't a teachable moment, that was just cruel. Number 2, disparaging Howard's qualifications and intellect. He might not have a PhD like his friends, but Howard Wolowitz is still exceptionally smart. Only one person would rebuke this fact, and that's Dr. Sheldon Cooper.
Sheldon, I'm more than smart enough to take your class.
No.
Yes.
Throughout the show's run, we've seen Sheldon dismiss Howard's intelligence, belittle his education, and ridicule his profession. Let's not forget that Howard's an MIT graduate who's been to space no less. When Sheldon wants to ensure his work can be understood by the layman, he calls on Howard.
I need to make sure that they're simple enough for the less educated in the audience to understand. Howard, look this over and tell me what's unclear to you.
Excuse me, I have a master's degree in engineering from the Massachusetts Institute of Technology.
When Amy says she's looking for an engineer, he quips that Howard might know one. And when Wolowitz considers getting his PhD, Sheldon deliberately tries to trip him up.
And how it relates to the calculus of variations.
It's an inverted cycloid.
Wonderful. Now, what about Euler-Lagrange theorems?
That's where I'm a little fuzzy.
Ha! I knew it! All right.
He can't even pay Howard a compliment without ending it with a biting remark.
Why are you always ripping on me?
Oh, I understand the confusion. Now, I have never said that you are not good at what you do. It's just that what you do is not worth doing.
Before we unveil our number 1 pick, here are some honorable mentions. A zinger about Raj's fear of bugs and women. We doubt Sheldon's joke left Raj catatonic, but it probably stung.
Well, just bugs.
Yeah, well, I don't like bugs, okay? They freak me out.
Interesting. You're afraid of insects and women. Ladybugs must render you catatonic.
Sucking on so many levels. Sheldon isn't the most gracious winner.
Perhaps three-dimensional Candyland would be more your speed.
Just reset the board.
It must be humbling to suck on so many different levels.
Sheldon gets himself fired. Talk about getting off on the wrong foot.
And you are?
An actual real scientist. How was that?
I can't believe he fired me.
Insulting Penny's cooking. Most people would just say thank you.
I'm so glad you like it.
I do. Leonard never cooks for me.
Well, maybe that's because Leonard can't cook.
You can't cook and you made me this.
Sheldon makes a dig at his bro. Does penicillin also cure savage burns?
I graduated college at 14. While my brother was getting an STD, I was getting a PhD. Penicillin can't take this away.
Number 1, selling out his friends to work with the military. When Sheldon, Leonard, and Howard team up to work on the gyroscopic project, Sheldon surprises us all by showing he can be a team player and a good friend.
I've always valued education over money, and the very fact that you needed a written guarantee of respect made me realize how dismissive I've been of your contributions.
I appreciate that.
However, it does not last long, and he soon returns to his cold, caustic, and self-serving ways.
You better not be working on our project because we're a team.
Leonard, there is no I in team. However, there is an I in I'm working with the military and you're not.
Leonard discovers that Sheldon took credit for their collaboration and has secretly continued working with the military. Understandably, he and Howard are furious, but Sheldon doesn't think he's done anything wrong.
You know what? You like to think that you're just like Tesla, but the truth is you're exactly like Edison.
You take that back.
No, he's right.
If anything, he pins it on his mother for making him socialize. The trio engages in a heated argument and some scathing science-based name-calling.
Can you believe they said I was just like Edison? Yeah, and in front of a lady, no less.
Well, you are building on their work and taking the credit for it. That's a classic Edison move.
This is no way to treat your friend, Sheldon. You sure sound like an Edison to us.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from Ms. Mojo and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.